YouTube as a supernatural video. The image was taken in 2019 at the Metropolitan Cathedral in Dota, Philippines. Note the statue of Jesus Christ. The camera reflected the image of Jesus Christ, and after a while the image of Christ moved as if he had lowered his head. Nothing special happens after that, and the image ends. But there are all kinds of opinions written in the comment column. I personally find it strange. What do everyone think?
I get scared. There is no one standing there, but there's a silhouette, like a shadow of a person. Yeah.
A woman shared a strange video on Twitter. She noticed a human-shaped shadow on the wall of the house opposite her house, but she couldn't see who was standing on it. After the video was released, many people thought it was just spray paint or projection.
So as you see, there is nothing at all.
The woman then reshot a video to explain that it was not spray paint or projection. You can see that there is nothing on the wall. She also showed the opposite side of the street and explained that there were no houses nearby that were tall enough to complete this kind of projection. So what phenomenon did she encounter that day? A moving fruit bowl. The guy said there were otherworldly things living in his house. He could create a connection with him. He placed an object. This thing is moving them. I don't know, friends. If I had something like this, I wouldn't sit so still. And what do you think is reality or frame-up? Share your views in the comments. What?
One night, a security guard was patrolling by a building. A figure with long hair and white clothes appeared on the roof. The security guard did not seem to notice the mysterious figure. After a while, the figure in white disappeared. Then a series of strange things happened. First, a shadow quickly floated past the camera. Then a piece of wood seemed to be cast a spell. It actually floated in the air by itself. The patrolman seemed very calm. Maybe he was used to these strange things. When he looked at the building, the figure in white on the roof disappeared again. Then more strange things happened. There were two pieces of wood, both floating in the air. At this time, the figure in white can be seen on the second floor. When the two pieces of wood fell, the patrolman ran over to check. This video comes from a memory card that a young man found while exploring. It shows a woman with a face full of bandages sitting on the bed, her body twisted strangely, and she even catches insects to eat. And an even weirder scene appeared. When the girl removed the bandages, her face and lip scar fell off directly. Suddenly, the girl found a surprise. She secretly tied the bandages and came to her sister's room. She lay on the bed as if greedily absorbing her sister's aura. Her sister's mouth was wide open and her eyes became empty. Then she pulled her dazed sister out of the room. Then they walked into the woods outside the house together, and there seemed to be a vague figure in the woods waving at them. This is a real event that happened in Texas, USA. What do you think about it? At this time, the horrific images captured by foreign home surveillance cameras were revealed. The family in the video is destined to have a sleepless night because there are always unclean things harassing them. The surveillance footage showed that the hostess was sleeping on the sofa in the living room. First, the children's tricycle moved backwards on its own, then quickly rushed forward for a distance, made a big turn, and stopped when it approached the wall. But this did not wake the hostess. After a while, the side of the sofa where she was sleeping was lifted off the ground at an angle of 45 degrees, and then suddenly returned to its original position. The violent impact woke up the hostess, and the sofa was lifted up at a 45-degree angle. The hostess was so frightened that she ran away. She should have gone to the room to tell her husband. This is a terrifying picture. Translucent figure squatted on the railway track, holding his knees with his hands and leaning his head on his legs to look at the man. The woman in the hospital. This is a picture taken by the hospital surveillance camera. A nurse is pushing a disabled patient in a wheelchair and waiting for the elevator. There is also a long-haired woman waiting for the elevator. At this time, a terrifying scene happened. The long-haired woman watched the two of them slowly walk to the elevator door and crawled in through the crack of the door. The nurse turned around and ran away in fear. The patient was left shaking in the wheelchair and was very desperate. Through slow motion, we can see that the woman turned herself into a paper-like body and crawled in when the elevator door was not open. Directors, do you know what happened? This is a The hair was very long, but the facial features could not be seen clearly. When the man found it, it disappeared. This is a scene captured by a home surveillance camera. A woman was sleeping when a human worm suddenly broke into the room. Because the process here is horrible, it will be skipped here. The woman was bitten by the big worm and struggled desperately. You know, the big worm has swallowed the woman completely, and then it's slowly left with a lot of blood and tissue on the floor. Have you seen such a big worm? Please tell me in the comment section. This is a real scene captured by a family camera abroad. The woman came home from work late at night. Because she was too tired from work, she did not notice anything unusual in the room and went to bed early. Just as the woman fell asleep, something strange happened. The door of the room was suddenly opened, but there was nothing outside the door. But if you look closely, you will find a tall figure on the wall. Then, the woman's quilt was torn apart by an invisible force and thrown directly to the ground. The woman was still sleeping soundly at this time, and then the force held up her legs and pulled them out. The woman woke up in panic. She wanted to resist, but everything was in vain. Friends, did you see it clearly? This is a terrifying scene in a Japanese cemetery. After a couple finished worshiping in the cemetery, they saw a small tomb house on their way back and were very curious. They wondered why there was a small tomb house here. Because of curiosity, the two walked towards the tomb house. When they arrived at the door of the tomb house, they discussed the meaning of the tomb house. At this time, the man saw a scene that terrified him for his whole life, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. The man couldn't believe his eyes, and he checked again and asked his girlfriend if she saw it. But obviously the woman didn't see what happened just now. I wonder if everyone saw it. Let's take a closer look again through slow motion. Yes, there appeared a woman with disheveled hair, pale face, and bloodshot eyes. This is the most hardcore expedition team I have ever seen abroad. They have advanced technology and sophisticated weapons. Several people first made some deployments, stood up and checked the periphery of the house, and then entered the house. When several people were searching in the house, one of them saw a face on the window, and several people were scared and ran out. After playback, we can see that there is nothing scary about this face. Then several people returned to the house, and the face disappeared. But the weird things are not over. One of them was in a room, and someone took a picture of a long-haired black figure. Several people were scared and ran out again, and never dared to come in again. Through slow motion, we can clearly see that this long-haired black shadow has no shadow under the strong light. When the man walked to another room, a horrifying scene appeared. There was a man in black with long hair lying on the ground, with only half of his body. Late one night, a man heard a strange, unsettling sound coming from outside his house. Panic set in as he rushed to close every window and door, desperately trying to feel safe. But just as he was about to peek out of the window to investigate, he froze. Something horrifying was lurking just beyond the glass, watching him. What was it?